We might be here. We might not be here. Thanks to everyone who listened to last week's show. This is Friday. It's 11 a.m. in the Pacific time zone. Who cares in the other time zones? I still get to have lunch. This is Anytime with Ken and Alden.
That's Ken, and I'm Alden. And we're live, I guess.
One of us is.
Look, man, we're trying. I honestly think that we have been throttled by big tech for some of the things that that's the narrative that I'm going with. For some of the things that we've said, for some of our very correct takes, we are now being silenced.
Yes.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Yes, I think that's the case. Last week, if you tried to listen, we had this delay issue that was comical. It was one of us is broadcasting live in Baghdad. Today, we signed into the StreamYard. I use StreamYard, and yeah, I could. If that's the problem, I guess you could switch. That's a little easier than other switches that might need to happen. Alden, the delay was 30 seconds. We did a test. Like, we were in other worlds. You were on Mars. Oh, there it is again.
Last week was really bad. Late.
Here we go.
This is like that. It's like, why in the holy mother of fuck do we spend money on something that doesn't work? That you can internet test it all, that you can reset everything, and that everything works. Test a bunch of other shit. Someone wants, again, like I said last week, someone wants to go play a game in this house. Everything's fine. You want to fucking get on your TikTok or whatever, it's fine. And then we try to do something. And then, of course, there's got to be a problem. This never happened on Google Hangouts. I'll tell you that. It was working just fine.
On MySpace's Spaces, did we bring Tom back? We can go live.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, and here's my frustration. This has been happening all week. It could be StreamYard. I had a problem yesterday with Foresight. I couldn't get the live stream key up. But it turned out it was a corrupted thumbnail file. How the fuck would I know that? After I talked with StreamYard Tech, and then yeah.
What even is that? What even is a corrupted thumbnail? That's not a real thing.
Yeah,
they're just making up new things.
Yep. And this could, but here's the thing. This could be on my end. This could be on your end. This could be a YouTube issue because YouTube also unveiled a new back end for streams on my personal channel for the Blathering, but not on this one and not on Force Center. They roll it out slowly. Everything's fucked. And you can't just easily switch. I know people are joking in chat. Go to Kick, producer Steve, joking. Everyone's joking. But it's just like when someone's like, hell, you're on Substack and making money. Well, Substack does evil things. You're going to have to switch. 67% of your audience is not going to follow you. That means I'm done. So if we go broadcast somewhere else, we're done.
Look, nobody wants this to turn into what it very easily could turn into, which is Alden and Ken talk about like the real nitty gritty, the real state of the business. You danced with the devil there by saying that the audience won't follow, because I'm always 2 seconds away from cutting anti-audience promos at this point in my life. I'm hurtling toward 30, and I've seen too many. I've seen too many. Hey, Pit Boss, where have you been for the last 8 years, man? I haven't seen you at all. I've seen too many of those comments that just make me want to scream, and they're not even about me. But it's just like, it just blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind that we still have to deal with this shit.
Yeah. Well, all right. We'll try to get some done here. We'll speak in sound bites, Alden, so that the delay will seem less. We will get a report. Where do you want to start this week? I want to hear your thoughts. We have peace in the Middle East. We don't really. Bad Bunny is on my mind because I'm obsessed with the GOP's obsession with him. Where do you go?
Sure. I mean, yeah, the Bad Bunny thing is I'm not going to say interesting because it really, to me, isn't all that interesting because it feels very like natural to me. But I'll say what I said to you in text, which is that the whole kerfuffle, the whole thing just reeks of the growing element of like a supremacist bent to everything that they're doing. And if you need evidence of that, the Shakira J-Lo Bad Bunny one was during Trump won. And then yeah, you had the normal like, why isn't this Foo Fighters? Like you had like the normal NFL fan backlash to that with some racial undertones. I mean, I was working mornings like on classic rock at the time. And so it's like we had our annoying, like obvious microaggression calls about that one. But it's like you can't act like this is not a reality that we've already lived in. And then suddenly now it's happening again with an artist that's already been in a halftime. And then he's doing it solo. And it's like, it's the buildup. It's like Kendrick Lamar last time. It's, well, I can't really understand him, which is, racial undertones heavy. And then now we're here, and it's performative. It's a very, very performative outrage. Very, very, very frustrating. And just to answer an audience question from Egon, I'm not sure which Egon you are, but hopefully not the one that we currently have to deal with in Hot D. Is my internet fine outside of streams? Yeah, my internet's fine whenever I want to do anything except what I want to do. My internet is completely, utterly fine. It's the only internet you can even really get in this area, or at least it was when we moved here. And it's completely fine. If I ever want to like watch a video where somebody has a shitty Star Wars take, trust me, that will load in 4K. It'll load in 8K. But when I want to talk to Ken Knapsack, then suddenly there's a fucking problem. So I hope that answers your question. And I'm not being sassy with you, Egon. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. It could also be computer issues. You said all the words I want to say in the Bad Bunny thing. I've just been obsessed with it because it is absolutely that. It is so performative by a lot of people who, even Mike Johnson, as I talked about yesterday in the Blathering, admitting he's not familiar with the artist, but they really should have booked Lee Greenwood because Lee Greenwood has a more mass appeal. Bad Bunny, in a shorter span of time, has already sold 111 copies of records worldwide. Lee Greenwood is in his entire God Bless America career, 25 million, which is still nice. I wish I had 25 million record sales. This is beyond. It's American football, but it's a worldwide event. Even Tom Brady, who's hung out with Donald Trump, went on to defend it as a choice for the business of the NFL, which is a worldwide sport. So it's so performative, Alden, but it also undercuts a lot of them are just these fucking dweebs, man. Just these fucking dweebs. And Addy brought it up in comment too. They want to throw their own halftime show of good Christian American artists. Fuck out of here with this shit. Dweebs.
Yeah. Can we also note, for the audience and just for the record, something that you and I know as TV history fans and comedy history fans and all that the halftime show only exists because of Black comics. Like, if you're not aware of that, at the halftime show as it stands now, is because of Living Color. So it's like you can't separate this from it being a multicultural experience. Like, this is one of those things where it's like we become the facts don't care about your feelings people, which like we didn't expect that we would be those people, but we have to be in this moment of like, I understand you might feel that way. I understand that you might have classic rock or country or white or just whiteness in general or beer drinking truck culture as intertwined with your NFL appreciation and love. And there's nothing really like even wrong with that. I mean, there's wrong with the whites only angle, but like if you're like, I just love guitars and trucks and like I don't have a problem with you liking that, but you also can't tell me that history didn't happen. The one that started it was Living Color. The one that most people agree, most journalists, most rock journalists, most music journalists agree was the best was Prince. some of the most iconic moments have had to do with other POC too. Like, I just don't, it is so utterly fake. It's fake in the same way that like all wars on Christmas are fake. It's that same attitude.
100%. 100%. Which is why I think I've been so obsessed with it that it just on this scale. And how just along party lines it gets. My dad passed along some information through my mom this week. I was talking about I'm having a little trouble with my dog Franny, that now that she's here, I can't go out and do stuff as much. She has some anxiety issues. And my mom was like, could you bring her to a comedy show? And I was like, I couldn't. And then my dad in the back was like, Snoop Dogg brings his dog places. So I'm like, you've never known who Snoop Dogg was. Dad probably also would have told me that he's an evil Satanist. But now that he's on your side, you're like you're down with Snoop Dogg. And it's just it's so performative and bullshitty. And it drives me crazy. But I'm obsessed with this Bad Bunny thing.
Yeah, it's been fun to see how he's handled it too. I think that's, the other side is that he's handled it with the way I think he should handle it. I don't know him. We don't, all Puerto Ricans don't know each other, contrary to popular belief, I guess.
That was my follow-up question. That was my follow-up question
about him. Yeah. But like, do Benito and I hang out? No, unfortunately, we don't. If Benito and I did hang out, I would have asked him to bankroll this exact show. But he goes and he hosted SNL, the premiere, which was an episode, but I thought he did as good a job as he could have, especially with this. In the monologue, I think just like having a charming approach to it, a simple little Fox News jab, and then you have 4 months to learn Spanish. I thought that was like, that's the only way that you can take a dig, but in a head held high type way. He didn't go as knives out as Colin Jost did on Hegseth. That's a completely different type of maneuver in comedy. But he's a charming guy. He's just having fun. Like, this is, and it's also funny because it's like specifically his essence and his presence is so based in just fun and like fulfilling one's inner child. Like, if you track the things that Bad Bunny has done with his obscene amounts of money and fame, it's not the stuff that like a lot of famous people do where it's like, God, why are they doing that stupid shit? Or why are they putting their money into this evil whatever? Or like, we have to feel bad about being their fan. Bad Bunny became a worldwide phenomenon, and his things were, I want to wrestle because wrestling makes me happy. I want to do comedy because I used to watch sitcoms as a kid. I want to be in Adam Sandler movies. I want to, like, who's he hurting? Who is he hurting just by checking off his own personal little bucket list? Like, these are the most low stakes things. And the only time that he ever got a little bit like, you can't even call it aggressive. It was just truthful. It was saying, yeah, the reason why I didn't do American tour dates is because I'm worried about this. And that was enough for them to be like, well, he's an enemy of the state then. Because to them, that is the state. And it's again, a complete fiction. It's a performance.
Yeah, it does make me think of the 70s Nixon era, late 60s, 70s, of him spying on every person, especially those Brits, those Beatles, John Lennon, because they were speaking out. And then Nixon was propping up bloated Elvis Presley at the end of his existence because he was American, man. It reeks of that, but on a higher level. And you're right. I think the only thing, well, many things, but the only thing that really caused this, I think, was his anti-ice stance. Oh, I said anti-ice because that's what you write on bullets. But you know what I mean? It's to prop that up in the culture war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. It's just he just happens to be the thing right now, and there will be another thing down the road. They'll be kicking and screaming the entire way there. But like, what do they honestly think is going to happen? That the NFL pulls it? That the NFL changes something? Like, is the NFL the new Jimmy Kimmel, where they're like, okay, we lost the Kimmel battle, so now we need to move into football and hope that there will be more of a groundswell in our favor? I genuinely don't know. I really don't know what what their desired end game is here outside of it giving us something to just, to discuss that isn't the shutdown, that isn't Epstein, that isn't healthcare. Like I mean, yeah, I hate to be that person that's like, this is a distraction, because as we've said on the show many times, it's all happening. But at the same time, you can't help but sometimes things get silly to the point where you just can't help but feel like it kind of is. Like this is literally a man who played Happy Gilmore's caddy on Netflix. Like this is not Antifa. This is just a guy. That's it. He's just a dude. It's fascinating.
Very popular dude. Yeah. I think Jared the Dark Jedi says, I think the ice threat at the Super Bowl is really scary, even by 2025 standards. Yeah, it is, and we'll see how that plays out. And everyone has already made the wonderful jokes of, oh yes, you're gonna go get the $10,000 ticket, people. There. I don't know if that's the. There's never going to be a thing that finally is the line for folks, right? They're very rarely. We're seeing it a little bit. Some of those manosphere podcasters apparently have found a line, but if ICE raids the Super Bowl, I still don't think it would change people's minds. So I don't want it to happen, even for a hey, do it to see what happens take.
I mean, some people went all the way to the Riyadh Comedy Festival to try to find the line, and they still did it. So, I mean, these are silly times. Like, there are people that evidently there is no line. And if you dare ever point out an inconsistency in their approach to the 1%, they say that you are, let me check my notes here, a sanctimonious C word, I believe was the quote going around this week. But everybody criticizing certain bald guys that we otherwise have liked. Is a sanctimonious C word for pointing any of that out. So it's been a silly one for people just having opinions this week. And honestly, I try to come on this show and be a little bit informed. And I do keep is it proper English to say I keep abreast of issues? Or I keep the issues abreast?
I think that's
right.
I think that's fair.
I do, I creep, I lurk, I read. I'm never not on, but I made a concerted effort over the past week to post nothing and to engage.
I noticed that
to the sum of zero. I posted absolutely nothing. I worked on some stuff I had to work on. I started writing a wedding speech that I have to deliver. I played some games. I talked to some people. It's just it was one of those weeks where I just kind of had to do that. Maybe not a great timed choice. I don't know. It was just one of those times.
How did that feel? How did that feel?
How did it feel?
How did it feel? How did it work for you?
I felt a constant push and pull, which is something that we've talked about again on the show before. So I am somewhat repeating myself, but now I put it into action and it was more obvious. A constant push and pull between to be constantly on is pain, but to be unplugged is irresponsibility. And so I, trying to dance in that line, but then I had to remind myself of like, I don't need to prove to anybody else like the work, but you know what I mean? I don't have to prove anybody else the level of care or involvement. I don't have to prove anything really to anybody. I had somebody that has been in my life for a while that it's complicated. But in our conversations over the past week, she said a couple things to me because, I'm just a mortal man. And sometimes I need to hear the advice said to me through, through the guise of prettiness and charm. And she said that, it was the obvious you can't pour from an empty cup stuff, which is very true. But then the other thing was I was expressing some of the things that I was feeling about the world and about how I feel. And she just like completely just read me for filth and said that I'm always a teddy bear wearing the helmet of a knight. And she's like, and I think that what that means is that you always really feel a lot and you just want a good squeeze. She's like, but you put on this battle armor that's like, no, I'm busy. No, I'm working. No, I'm doing something. I have to fight. And she's like, and those are not tenable concepts. And it was an interesting thought. And so I was like, maybe I'll just exist. And I started to get really nostalgic for the time where I was not plugged in at all, which is weird because I grew up on the internet, but I just miss, and I'm envious sometimes of people that are just completely off of this shit and just unplugged. And like, it started to dawn on me in a week's time that I will not miss this.
You talking about just the daily act of social media?
Yes. Yeah. Like I have deep envy for the people that are successful enough to.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah. For me, I thought I was waiting for your delay. We had it for a hot minute there.
Oh, we did.
It was rolling.
And then suddenly you snapped. Yeah. So you're envious of my quiet. So it's you're talking about just unplugging, not just from the news of the world, but existing without social media, which is hard to like you said, you've grown up with it, as opposed to unplugging from the news. That was my clarification for myself.
Yeah, it's not so much being uninformed. I don't think I could ever live that kind of life because those people frustrate me, and I do think there's an irresponsibility to it. But there's just something about, and I've microdosed this before. Like we do often, we tie things into Star Wars and stuff, but like I left Twitter after the election, and a lot of people that swear up and down that they would throw bricks on Ferrex couldn't be bothered to do that, which I think is funny. But I also, I moved over to like Blue Sky and stuff. But when Skeleton Crew was airing, it was the first of the live action Star Wars television shows that I experienced without Twitter. And it made it an infinitely better experience. It was so much better. And that was like kind of the first little taste of, oh, I don't like this anymore. I don't like carving off a piece of Alden and throwing it out for everybody every day. It's kind of the rainbow fish shit where it's like the rainbow fish has all these scales and the rainbow fish has to give a scale out to other people. And then like which I know is supposed to be a positive story about sharing, but it's always struck me as this like give a piece of yourself story. I'm not going to speak for you, but I've gotten to the point where it's like, I don't like this. It's toxic. And not like in the, life of a showgirl, like, middle school lyrics level toxic. I mean, like, it's genuinely like, I feel so depleted and we are told that we have to do it, especially people like us, and that everybody needs to be an influencer. Every artist needs to be an influencer. Every author needs to be a salesman. Everybody needs to be everything. And it's like, I just want to be a thing. And I don't, and in 1 week, I've just been like, the minutes that are available to me now are so precious. Like, even if that means like, there's one more song to discover because there was one less moment of just being on here with people that either fundamentally do not get it, do not want to get it, don't care, are blind, are actively a part of the problem, like any angle that you want to split it. And I think, you might have been ahead of me on this because it's like you and I became friends right as you were taking your first departure from social media, and you've dipped your toe back in and out since. But I don't know, that could also be generational though, where you never had a love for it. For me, it's falling out of love.
No, I loved it. No, I loved it. I was every 10 minutes there was a status update for me on Facebook kind of person. A lot of it just stupid, banal shit that I look back on and go, no one needed to hear that. No, it was the talking of Star Wars. It was the sharing of joy and just existing that started to have me pull back from all of that there. And also there was this, things were happening in the world. And at the time I was like, well, I'm working through my thoughts on all of it. And so I don't want to, it's just not a smart idea for me to, hey guys, I have a question about this really, big social issue I'm learning to change my perspective on. Like, it just wasn't the spot for it. And a lot of us in the Star Wars community.
Yeah.
I've been honest with that. I think I blew up here about a year ago. And it wasn't the angry car guys. It was the other folks, not to sound like Bill Burr, but a lot of sanctimonious bleeps who were supposedly on the good side. And it drove me from daily interaction on it. So I've been here about 6 years. And after the election, when I went to Blue Sky and I stopped being active on Twitter, I still have Twitter accounts there because who knows, one day someone buys it and we all switch back. Who knows? But when I went to Blue Sky, you saw a burst of what I used to be.
That first week of the Blue Sky migration was really nice because it felt very vintage. It felt like a return to form. But then, and I said it then and I maintain it. Part of the reason why it never took off as a community is because the people that had already run there previous, when it was still a private invite only thing, created a tone of student government and hall monitors and yearbook committee and just I'm sorry, getting there and people immediately this is how we do things here. It's just all right, well, why were all you motherfuckers trying to convince us to show up and liven up the party? Why did you you all wanted funny here, right? You all wanted interesting. I genuinely think Blue Sky
it brings you got to stop. You got to stop because you're bringing out a bad side of me. You're bringing out a bad side of me, and you got to stop, Alden. I once threatened to tip over someone in a wheelchair in a fight. You don't bring out that side, Alden.
I know, man. I know. See, Steve here. The Blue Sky search felt like the first weekend living in the dorms and everyone figured this shit out. Yeah, and then I found this long-haired guy named Steve. Steve is the perfect person to say that because he's the exact type of character that you meet during your first week when you're moving into the dorms. You're just like, who's that guy with the long hair over there?
Is that our RN?
Gang.
I want to.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to address. I want to address. I know we're at a big delay. I want to address Alan's thing. Neither of you followed me back. I don't follow back a lot of folks. The reason I don't is it opens up a pathway to communication that I used to love, but I don't love as much anymore. So I have if this, that, I trust, I've met Alan Smithy in person, if that is his real name. So I apologize to a lot of folks. I after a while, the early schmoes days was this golden age and let's all be friends and this, that. And then I posted something personal one time, and I don't think Alan would do this or anyone else. So I'll give you a follow back. I don't even know which on platform anymore, but I posted something personal one time on Instagram, not dramatic, but just I think it was my niece or something like that. And people were commenting schmo-down stuff underneath in the schmoes. And I was like, you don't get that access. And it was on Facebook. It wasn't I posted a tweet. It was Facebook was kind of more personal. And I posted something and it was I was getting work responses and I was like, I'm cutting this off. So over the last 5, 6, 7 years, my guard does go up.
That was a great answer. My response to the allegations is that you probably just followed me at a moment where I didn't care, man. I'm sorry. It really is that simple. It's sometimes I go and sometimes that phase is this community, sometimes people say nice things about me. Hard to believe, I know. Jared Bachman Stubbs from the Nerd Academy has been kind enough to refer to me as a thought leader amongst some of the nerds and blah blah blah, and that's all really nice and cute. But sometimes people follow me and I'm in a mood of like, community is so key. Like, isn't it so beautiful that we all get to share these? But then like sometimes I get into these moods where I'm like, the audience doesn't get it, and what the fuck have they ever done to help? And that's not directed at Alan. That's not directed at anybody in particular. I mean, sometimes it is, but it immediately I get filled with like these we're a dying breed and we're at war with the algorithm, and I don't want to be on the clock when I'm not on the clock, and I don't want like, so there's a lot of angst that goes sometimes into a simple follow back. And then other times and this is something that I rant about a lot too, and people that know me in private can attest to this. Like, constantly I am dealing with this feeling of like I'm too easily accessible. Too many people have a direct line to me. That there's too many people can hit me from different angles whenever they want. Too many people can ask me for things. Too many people can get my opinion. And in the same way that we weren't meant to see like footage of war crimes and then footage of little puppies back to back constantly, I don't think that we were supposed to have to field questions about friends' personal tragedies, family drama, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then also, oh, this person with screen name wants to develop a friendship beyond audience and worker, used loosely, to mutual friends. And it's like that. I don't know. There needs to be something. There needs to be an organic arc there for that to happen. It's kind of like dating, man. I just wasn't the one for you. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
It ain't me, babe.
But I appreciate it, and I hope Ken follows you back.
Jared, yeah, the Thai pilot. Jared, the Thai pilot says, our Ken follows your band and makes fun of our cargo shorts. I will always make fun of cargo shorts. Okay, we've got to move past them as a culture. They're great. I own like 19 of them back in the day. All right, we've got to move past the mediocre white man outfit. We have to, Alden. You don't have to.
Okay. Well, then allow me to propose a bit. Let's do a bit. Let's do an audience participation bit here for a second.
Okay.
I'm going to put it in the comments as I explain to you. You're going to do it, and so is everybody else. Rank the following 3 things. I'm typing as I go. The first one, cargo shorts. The second one, polo shirts. And finally, mustaches. 1 to 3, with 1 being your preferred thing, and then that third place just being the worst of the 3.
Okay, I'll get a comment back. Polo shirts, cargo shorts,
polo shirts, yep.
Mustaches. Okay,
because these are all things for those that might be new that Ken is on the record disliking in different contexts, especially when paired or even grouped completely as a trio.
Laserbolt says you can't camp without cargo shorts. Try it. Get a fanny pack. Now, you didn't take a bump in the ring, Laserbolt, so I don't know if you deserve that fanny pack, but I think you try it. This is style knows no weather conditions. Style knows no hiking or camping conditions. We must fight back against mediocre white man syndrome. Producer Steve always tries to defend his polo shirt. He always tries to defend his polo shirt as if he looks good in it. That's the problem.
Yeah. This is I'm seeing some controversial, and it looks like polo shirts are coming out on top though, for sure. That's consistent across the board. Is that polo shirts? They're fighting for polo redemption here.
Well, they will.
Ooh.
Look, where would you want?
Michael McCarcel, though, even worse than all of them.
Flip-flops with socks.
Flip-flops with socks. Flip-flops with socks is unholy.
I'll tell you why. The flip-flops with socks are bad. Sliders with socks, I do consider bad. But the thing is, that is you see it, it's a style, it's a thing. Could even be trendy. The polo shirt, cargo short thing drives me insane because it sneaks by and it's accepted as normal when we can reach for better, higher heights. The mustache just drives me crazy because we got rid of those for a reason. Like after we were like, after a while, we're like, hey, we all determined this looks really bad and it turns 24-year-olds into 47-year-olds with a smoking problem. We're going to pull off of this, grow a full beard. And the fact that a lot of youngsters, even in the major leagues, a lot of mustaches back in the major leagues, drives me crazy. We already broke that habit for all of you to be better for it, and you refuse. It's your own funeral.
Wow. Now, my follow-up to that is, in terms of things that were once thought eradicated, we're talking about mustaches as if they were like, the One Ring. It's like we thought it defeated for a whole age.
Mm-hmm.
Of the things that have come back, do you think it's more reasonable to see the resurgence of the mustache or the resurgence of the mullet? Sometimes from the same people.
That's the thing, Alden. It's the same fucking people. Both. Yeah. They're equal. They're equal. The loathing I have for them are equidistant. I can reach out and hit both of them.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
I mean, let's do the rat tails. Let's all do rat tails then. My friend Jed had a long, 5-inch long rat tail in 6th grade. Let's just do that again.
That's funny. I love that next comment here. As the father of a 7-year-old, I'm more concerned with the mullet. Well, I mean, your father of a 7-year-old, that means that you still have years of controlling their haircut. So that's good.
Which
eventually they will be able to rebel.
which will have ramifications on them later on in life. My parents were so controlling, I couldn't even have my own hairstyle when I was 7. You can't win. You can't win, Nick.
I was 7 and I wanted to have a mullet, and then my dad listened to some YouTubers that made fun of it. Yeah. Yeah, that's possible.
Anyways, I love it. Drives people crazy, and I love it. I kind of love it. Because all of it comes from self-hate. I'm describing how I used to dress. Never with the mustache.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm describing how much I hated myself for 25 years.
You say never with the mustache. Do you remember? I say, do you remember, as if it wasn't your life, as if you didn't live it and then write a bit about it and then perform it. But Ken, do you remember a few weeks ago when you went to a protest and they thought that you were a cop? Yeah, if you ever wanted to have that everywhere you go stash.
Oh yeah.
that will expand exponentially. Right now, beard, it's like you could be a lot of things. Like, because you were at the protest, I think you got that lens. But like your beard right now, you could be the owner and proprietor of a used bookstore. You could be a screenwriter. You could be a session bassist. You could be a lot of things. But
slap it a bit. Well, it's I'm glad I don't have a mustache. It's more to do with my posture. When I get into those kind of situations, a different posture sets in, and it's the public safety posture, because you're kind of up and alert and looking, and I'm literally seeing every threat in front of me. It's just 17 years of that. If you walk into a mall with me, Grace used to always make fun of me. The moment we walk into a mall, I just suddenly am a different person, and not conscious, just like there. So that's why everyone at the protest, the No Kings Day was like, hey, look at that undercover cop. Plus, I had a jacket on and was kind of hot, so I looked like I was hiding a gun.
Are you somebody, and I'm saying this as someone who does this, I couldn't get an accurate read on this when you and I last dined together, which was already a long time ago. Actually, that's not true. We dined together in May at a taco joint, but even that, it didn't apply. We've eaten together at Smokehouse, where it was a round table, center of the room, and we've eaten together outside. So those don't count. But when you're in a place where it applies, do you do the cop thing of I have to sit with my back to the wall? Because I do that.
Oh yeah, no, the power seat. I've talked about this.
The mob thing.
It's it's the power seat. No, I do this. I've talked about this on the Blethering. I absolutely will take the power seat unless you are the one with the gun. And says that since I do have some friends who carry and are off duty, they take the power seat. Yeah, no, I will not let you sit. I will not let you take that from me. I don't, because I don't trust anyone else.
Yeah.
I do not trust anyone else.
Like to have the door. Yeah. I don't like to have the door behind me, especially if there's a sound. If, I'm not trying to end up in, a soprano scene. Like I really don't like, even if it's not a matter of safety, I just don't like not knowing what's going on behind me. It freaks me out.
Yeah. No, that's it. And I just don't trust anyone to be looking around the room and behavior profile, because that's what it is. And you're just like, you're watching everyone. Yeah, I just need to know. In this day and age, I need to know. Unless you are on the trigger finger. Producer Steve said something that's true. Mike McDaniel, the soon-to-be-fired Miami Dolphins head coach, peak male fashion right now. Hoodie, sweatpants rolled up to his knees, little boat shoes, and drug kingpin sunglasses. I wouldn't do that.
Dare I ask a question that I don't normally ask, which is, how about them Dolphins? Where are we at right now? Football fans?
It's not good.
It's bad. It's bad.
Not good.
It's real bad.
The team has all but officially quit on the coach. Our defense gave up nearly 300 yards running to the equivalent of a LARP team pretending to be a football team. It's not good, Alden. It's not good. Not good.
At what point do they just let you do it? Why don't you just
I'm pretty good on Madden. I use Mike McDaniel's playbook too. So, I won a Super Bowl 2 seasons ago. I am 2-5 this season, but I changed quarterbacks. It's a thing.
Look at how my question was met here. This is the response I've gotten from jocks my whole life.
Yeah. Producer Steve right now he's on a tush push of thin ice after what the Eagles did last night. That was a prime time poop right there for all the world to watch. My fantasy team is somehow doing work. I returned to fantasy football for the first time in 15 years old, and I'm 0-5. And
I haven't kept up with the scores of your blathering fantasy league, but I do hear about it. I hear about it through the grapevine of people that, I think take it a little bit too seriously. Jared,
who's gossiping about it?
But there's multiple fantasy leagues that people that I talk to every day are in, and I hear about all of them. I hear about all of them in different contexts. Okay. Philly sports had a rough night last night. Oh, so it wasn't just football that you guys got smacked around then, huh?
Yeah, no, the Phillies.
This is why I've only ever engaged with wrestling, because it doesn't spark the same pain that you all seem to go through with.
It's a fun kind of pain. That's the thing, man. It's a fun kind of pain. I mean, it's very frustrating and it demoralizes you, but we're all chasing the comeback, man. We're all chasing the comeback.
I mean, that's the story of living down here. Like, even as a non-sports guy, just growing up and knowing that the team that everyone talks about used to be good, that was just part of the reality. That there was always this dream of like a Dolphins that once existed. And then when I started working for Classic Rock Radio down here, we had so many collaborations with the Dolphins and so many sports bar like sponsorship partnerships and things that like I was always like in and around it. And to the point where like I would even like get to meet a lot of like older Miami Dolphins, that would come through and everything. And it was always glory days stuff. And then I would have to watch them try to protect their legacy while also admitting that things are bad now. It was an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, being in South Florida. Yeah. There's a lot of football ghosts in that city. And I would know. But it's fun.
Eli says wrestling doesn't cause the same amount of pain. Alden, where's the next Mania? Yeah, but you see, that's not wrestling, Eli. I said professional wrestling. I didn't say the prime energy drink social activation featuring Travis Scott, featuring fucking Tony Hinchcliffe, featuring the Saudi Prince, featuring. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about God's greatest art form, professional wrestling. With serious stuff like Timeless Tony Storm. That's what I'm talking about. Real graps, as the kids say. I'm talking about work rate, Eli. I'm talking about 5-star classics in the ECW arena that I watch, that I'm the only one that I know that watches them.
On tape?
I'm not talking about whatever that is. But in truth, it is very frustrating. I mean, there's already talk. So Cena's last match, we never had a location for it prior to it all ironed out. But it was rumored and speculated, and rightfully so, that it would be in Massachusetts. Because that makes sense, right? Where the man's from. Mm-hmm. And then now their whole thing is it's Saturday night's main event in DC at the end of the year. I have my opinions on that on several levels, one of which is, why is it on Saturday night's main event? I think in retrospect, there's a lot that you couldn't ever move around. The man is also an actor. The man's also a husband. The man has a life. So I get that they made the decision to do, January to December as the run for many reasons. I understand that. I think in retrospect, they probably would have been smart to do Mania to Mania.
Yeah,
in January to December. Because it's at the point now where it's like he's going to go Saturday night's main event. We still don't really even have a story. And now the reason I bring it up is that they're already starting to dip their toe into that. Maybe they'll do a Triple H walks out the president to ringside type thing. Like he wants to have his little Dana moment. And they're doing everything in their power to make sure that I am not engaged in the last ride of one of my childhood heroes. So we'll see how that goes. But again, I watch real wrestling. So it's a pain in the ass.
Thank you, Jim Cornette. Thank you. Yeah, but it's
corny.
It's tough to have a serious conversation with this tech delay going on. We're doing a pretty good job, Alden. But yeah. The Rad Comedy Festival is just. I keep talking about it. It is just the canary in the coal mine. Actually, Live Golf is, and WWE, I think, are there as well. But like this is going to be more and more something that we have to, I won't say deal with, but have to kind of maybe reconcile or wonder about. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about Madden. By 2027. That's going to be a Jared Kushner Saudi joint, and it's going to be everywhere. That kind of thing that we have to question about it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they're about to get their hands on in this acquisition BioWare, which has always been a company very heavy on inclusion, player choice, all those things. And we'll see how that goes. If anything is going to be able to stay consistent with projects going forward, I don't know. I mean, that's just the time that we live in, right? Like you make any type of decision and you're immediately complicit in something. I said this about the Kimmel stuff too. It's like, I don't think anybody should be like, and I made this choice and therefore I've figured it out. And therefore it's like, no, you didn't. Like we're all still on iPhones, folks. So it's a pain in the ass. But yeah, how did we end up on that? Oh yeah, because of the wrestling stuff. Look, man, wrestling will break your heart. It'll break your heart. It'll all break your heart at some point.
It will. It will.
Yeah.
It will.
What else did we have on this agenda today?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit. Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the. I was just going to swing through the Middle East piece because it's not a piece. But also the fact that Trump did not get the Nobel Peace Prize is a small little victory.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought we were racing towards that. Even my team, Ukraine, was like, yeah, he negotiates peace. We'll nominate him. I was like, oh, Vladimir, we don't need to do that. But it did not go to him, and I think that's just wonderful. Maria Corina Machado wins it.
I watched the footage of her receiving the call about it. Very sweet moment.
Yeah, though she did dedicate her win to Donald Trump. We do need to point that out.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. So he almost.
Did she seriously? Won. Oh,
she
wow.
Did.
Okay. All right. She did. All right. Well, you know.
Yep. But
that's certainly a choice.
I want to publicly say I think a ceasefire and whatever kind of peace is going on is not something I'm against. I think that's a good thing. I just think, cool. When do the trials start? When do we we don't go on from here and just go, yay, everything's good. Celebrate hostages returning, celebrate remains going back to their families, celebrate exchange of people in captivity. We can celebrate a little bit of peace, but to me, this isn't a whew. Now I can go back to just ignoring it. Like it goes.
Of course,
start the trials.
It all has too the asterisks, the major asterisks of the new. I don't want to say governing body, although, but this advisory sort of directional body that's going to be run by Donald and Farage, and it's like, we're going to handle things going forward, and that's part of the I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just again, this is just one of those. I think I'm aging in real time. I think it's really
that should have been the name of our. That should be the name of our show, Aging and in Real Time with Ken and Alden. Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
I just I don't know. I think I'm moving into the next phase. I think
what's the phase?
I maybe. I don't know, man. I just I feel like I unleashed so much anger over the last few years of my life that I might genuinely just not have any left. And I know that's not true. I could definitely get there by day's end if need be. But as I'm hearing all this, I'm having moments of it's not that I don't care. I didn't want to get that impression. Obviously, I hugely care. But I just have this we've been at this pressure cooker stage for so long and all these issues that I'm kind of having those thoughts that, whenever something big happens and we come on here and we talk about it and we're like, this is the natural conclusion it's all the natural conclusion. This is late stage Rome at this point. And I'm just kind of what is there is there a possibility of improvement? Yes. But I also am don't things get better don't things get worse before they get better? That's also true too. So I think I'm just I'm aggressively I'm not going to get hurt again. That's what I am. I'm throwing up walls because I'm I'm not going to get hurt again. But I'm aware that I'm doing it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I could make a flippant joke of welcome to your 30s, but it's beyond that. It's it's a little bit of cynicism. It's a little bit of the system, just the wheels keep on, churning type of kind of fuck it. But yeah, you once you're plugged in, and there's no thought in my head that you would ever not care. But yeah, there's it's why I wanted to get into a little bit of political regularly, and we do it here, but I wanted 5 days a week. I think I'd love to sit in the political YouTube sphere. And it emotionally drained me in a short amount of time, and I pulled back from that idea. And I think it's also important to just seek solutions in the conversations when you're having the real conversations. Coming on here and venting and talking and pointing out and being with our community is not what I'm talking about. But there's a little bit of that too that might be dripping in to my world as well. So I feel you.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a weird time. I do think that heading toward 30 is part of it. Not the ages are so magical that things just sort of change and happen as you hit them, but we have benchmarks for a reason. And I think that I've been doing a lot of what's next thoughts. I've been trying to reframe it's over with what's next. And I think I don't know how much our role, how do I word this? I don't know how much our role, if we have a role as broadcasters, matters anymore. And I think that I've moved out of the anger. I'm starting to move out of the anger of like they took it away from us, which has been a thing that I maintain that they did. You know, like they took it away and we kind of handed it over as a business, as an industry, as an art. And now I'm more so, instead of like it's over, like the thing that I want, because I've said this to you before, as recently as last week. It's been a very loaded 7 days, Ken, mentally. But like I said last week, and I still stand by it to a degree of like, I read and I listen and I research like how things used to be done creatively, or these opportunities of like these legendary shows and things that we all like. And I'm like, God, like, why couldn't I live then? Why couldn't it be then? We fucking gave it away. It's all broken now. Now it's bullshit. It's just content and all this stuff. And I still feel that. But I guess now I'm trying to approach 30 with this mentality of like, well, it is over. So what about that? Instead of like trying to be a throwback, you know, is there a different thing? What's the next thing? Like I don't have the answers to any of that. I don't even really know how to articulate it. But I consider us, especially you and I, as friends and as people, to be out of time a little bit, men out of time. And now it's kind of like we've run that course. So you can only be Captain America fresh out of the ice for so long before you do still have to be part of the team, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You're talking. You don't want to be the weirdo with the old timey radio show, like just because let's keep it vintage. Like, and I'm not talking about what I do, or I'm talking about like, you know, let's wear fedoras and talk like this because that's the golden age. Like, you don't want to be that. It's just weird. But yeah, it's why I don't view social media anymore. It is, for me as a performer, it's a platform. Once I adapted that this summer, I started changing the way in which I look at it, and then I don't feel the need to get personal or engage on it as much, or follow back. But just like, this is another way to get my information out there and change, because I do think you're right. What I set out to do is gone. What a lot of people I know in this town set out to do is gone, or forever changed. So do you want to pick up the shifts at Target now, or do you want to try to shift and find what else is out there? And that's or both, which I might be finding out soon, as I still plan to move in my car in December.
Or both. I mean, like I've had those moments of like, do I even still like doing this? And then sometimes it's immediately followed by like, well, you just started not doing it on your terms anymore. You just sort of let them, whoever them is, even if them is just the world, make you feel like you're clocking in. Like, it's, I know you know how this is. Like, it's so easy to say like, oh, what a great idea I had, and then before you know it, that idea is work, and it's no longer, and not in the good way. Like, work is to put in work and to do work is noble and good, and you have to nurture it, you have to grow it. But you know what I mean, where it's like suddenly you feel like you're clocking in, and the boss is you, and it's like, how did I become at odds with myself?
I hate the boss. The boss is me.
Yeah, it's like there's like a late stage capitalist version of like, we have seen the enemy and he is us, or like whatever. Like like I have seen the manager and it is I. I have seen who checks my time card and it was my own face. Like, it's very, very strange. Like, to feel like there's a line in Conclave, which I maintained you should watch since you're watching movies again at this point in your life.
Oh, I stopped.
Come on, man. You can't stop now. You were on such a good roll.
I watched.
You got a summer of movies.
I did. I watched Paul Rudd, Tim Robinson Friendship. I watched that. And
like
sure. Nah.
I was lukewarm.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. And I don't know. And then I'm back to, let me just play Fortnite and go to bed watching ASMR videos. I watched Superman over the course of this last week while working out. All right. That counts, right?
That's something. Superman's good for the soul. But yeah, there's a line in Conclave, which everyone should watch, where one of the characters says, you know, it's shameful to get to this age and still not know who you are. And it's like, and obviously I'm not gonna throw that out there as a piece of wisdom to somebody who's older than me, but the sentiment behind it of like, to realize that you are at odds with yourself is something that I've definitely been reckoning with, and I think in a good way for growth. I'm not like suffering right now, but I've had that realization recently where I'm like, oh, you being in charge of oneself is not full liberation. Being in charge of oneself means that the stuff that I would normally pour onto a system or onto a coworker or onto a rival or whatever is more internalized than anything else. Like, I don't know if you've had that too, where it's like, I'm sure you have positive and negative memories of offices and studios where you've worked.
Sure.
But then now it's like the office and studio where you work is your house. And so it's like, and did the things change, you know, so much because X person wasn't at the desk next to you annoying you? And it's like, once you realize that some of that shit is still inside, it's like, oh, it's me. Like it's I'm the person, you know.
No, I don't have that. I love my setup. I just wish this made me the money I need. But I get very social. I'm a very social butterfly. After a while, I'll get like Billy the Kid. I'm a coy dog. Yes, I am quoting Young Guns too. He's a coy dog. He wants to get attention after a while, and that's what I do. That's what I go to a comedy club. I'm going to a comedy show tonight. But sometimes I just go drive and I'll park and walk in parts of the city where people are around on a Friday night. So I might be a little alone. I might be a little lonely, but I like feeling the energy of people. I don't miss The Office. I'm glad where I'm at. But I understand what you mean. I'm not going to watch Conclave, but I understand what you mean.
I think you would really, really like it, but I'm not going to force it on you.
No. See, Jerry the Canada Junkie said, I think you'd vibe with the questions Conclave brings up. I think the hardest thing for me over the last 10 years to try to get people to explain is I don't disagree with any of you. I'd probably really enjoy Wicked. I'd probably love DS9. I'd probably love Conclave. You're asking me to sit down and stare at a screen for 2 hours when I can go walk my dog. I can go stand in my backyard. I can go Fortnite. I'm not staring at a screen. I'm doing other things. I'm talking with friends, hanging out. Madden is a relaxation. It's meditation. I can't bring myself to sit and watch movies or TV shows for much longer. It just traps me. So no matter what it is, unless it's a doc, and I can't explain that other than middle age, I am so looking forward to Downey wrote that. Downey wrote that's going to be a Friday night for me. I'm going to order some food, let's be honest, steal it because I can't afford it, and sit down and I'm going to watch that doc. That is different than a narrative, and I can't explain it, and that's why it frustrates people.
You're not alone in that, though. Not saying I have an explanation, but you're not the only person in my life that has said similar things of like that something about narrative. Not that documentaries aren't narrative art, but you know what I mean. Fiction and nonfiction. That sometimes it's just like absorbing information sometimes is a different gear, I guess, than it is absorbing story. And part of that could also be that you have been in the trenches for a decade doing dialectical analysis on story and doing what is essentially hours of Socratic seminar with Joseph and Jennifer on Force Center that like now it's like if we threw you Conclave like right there, not to shit on that comment, but like the comment there of like, Ken, I think you would really gel with the ideas in Conclave. It's like sometimes you just need the information presented to you, and that's what a doc can do versus like, do I need to sit on the couch with Francis and like unpack my faith, which is what sometimes a story requires that you do.
What do I do in the backyard every day when I talk to what's left of the concept of God in my soul. Yeah, that's it. No, docs, you're learning about real people, history, things that were happening while you were unaware because either you were a kid or you were just a fan, and I love that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's nothing. And I think to your point of, and then we'll start getting out here because I do have a live Force Center. I a little bit of being in the digital media movie discussion world. After a while, you just got a little burnt out on seeing and talking and diving into. And so instead of just, I'm going to watch this for myself, I was like, I'm going to go do other things. Listen to music, which Steve hates.
This is still one of the most fascinating things I've ever learned about a person is Steve disliking music. It's fascinating.
I get it. Grace is like that too. Is like that. The music brings up too many emotions, and doesn't vibe. Steve's a deep. He's still waters run deep, like an Elton John song.
Maybe we'll get Steve to watch some of your documentaries. Maybe that'll be his next step. Steve becomes a doc guy because Steve's older than me but younger than you, so he's moving into that next phase.
Yeah. See, Steve says it right there. I don't hate music, just makes me sad. Yeah. Where I'm like, man, I'm feeling too happy today. I really could feel sad. Let me listen to some music.
Yeah. Music to me is also that. I don't go to music casually. I go to it to soundtrack a vibe. Whatever that vibe is. It could be anything. If I'm going for a walk, I throw on music that like makes me feel like I could fight, even though I definitely can't. If I'm sad, I that's when I'm locked in. Me sitting outside overlooking my backyard in a bathrobe listening to Let Down by Radiohead on purpose, that is maybe the most honest that I ever am with myself or anybody.
You're close to God there.
That's like, truly, I could actually see it. I could actually understand it for a moment.
Yeah, no, I co-wrote a song, "Good to Bleed," available on the Moonagers EP. Check it out. Get your music at your favorite streaming services so I can get 2 cents eventually. Good to bleed. Sometimes it just feels good to bleed, and that's kind of what music is to me.
Yeah. Ken Bloom says Alden is living in Garden State. That's one of the funniest comments dropped here today, and I'm sorry for anybody that doesn't get it, but that's a really good comment. Garden State. I mean, that's I grew up with films like Garden State existing and me thinking that that's what adulthood was and could be. Spoiler alert, it's not.
I still think that. Bullshit. I'll play you a Shin song.
Laserball says try listening to Devo and be sad. But to your point,
I don't.
That would be something to throw on for something happy. Yeah, like if I'm in a good mood, I listen to. Let me tell you, I had a phone call last week that I did not think I was going to have, and it was really, really positive and really, really great. What did I do after that? I threw on "Do You Feel Like We Do," all 14 minutes and 38 seconds, the live version, of course. And I was living my life. That felt great in that moment. Now I also could have done Devo in that moment, probably.
Yeah. I think I was having somewhat of a similar conversation with Ken Plume one day. I was mentioning how I appreciate and do love some of the songs from They Might Be Giants, but I don't like bands that have immense talent and then waste it on songs that don't have anything to do with heartbreak. Like, nope. Nope. I don't want anything. It's either we're going to get in a fist fight at a bar, which is why I love Oasis, or it's I'd like to climb up to the top of the cliff and consider jumping. If your music doesn't make me feel that, I don't have time for you.
I love the way you phrased it though, because it was still like, it's like the rock journalist in you like couldn't let you actually knock the talent. You were like, you have all the ability.
They're talented.
It's just that your heart and their heart are not in the same place.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing here?
There's nothing wrong with that.
I had this quite. My mom sent me, because I'm down in the dumps and all this shit, and my mom's like sent me a couple like Christian praise songs, and I'm like, I get what you do, and I'm like, I said, I'm not taking this away from you. I know this, you like this music, but I'm like, it doesn't work for me. This like, you could just give me the advice from the song, read me the lyrics, but it's too saccharine, it's too overproduced, just as music. But also, I need to hear the pain. I need to hear "Wake Up Time" by Tom Petty, which I heard recently on a walk back from meeting a friend for lunch, and was bawling on the street again. It's one of my all-time favorite songs. I need to hear that. I need to live in the pain to move past the pain. I don't need some, praise be to him song. Jerry the Cannon Junkie probably loves a bunch of praise songs, and that's fine. All right, we got to start.
I know we got to wind down. Yeah, we got to get out of here. But my last question, just because I know that there is just as your friend, as stuff you've talked about, stuff we talked about with like art and analysis, and the infamous Ken doesn't like ships with cloaking devices because he doesn't like people hiding who they are. Do you think that there is some, just using They Might Be Giants as an example, although there are many artists that can fall into this, is there an element of suspicion that comes with it where you're presenting a lack of pain, what are you hiding, and that turns you off?
No.
Like do you feel like their walls are up?
No, I don't. No judgment on them. And I just it's like and it's not, I wanted to talk about Haley Williams going on the Tonight Show, which does not have the weight that it used to be, but she goes on the Tonight Show and performs her True Believer song, which is a powerful song, and she made quite a statement, and I love that, and I'm there, and I love that song. But it's it's just when a band's entire existence is Istanbul, not Constantinople. Now it's Istanbul, not like. What are we doing? What are we doing?
We don't have to throw stones at Istanbul. It's a great, that's a banger. That's a banger.
They're talented nerds. They're talented nerds. I don't, I want to swim in the pain.
I think that instead of pitching you They Might Be Giants, whenever it was introduced to you, they should have pitched you Mountain Goats, who I feel are the They Might Be Giants that feel more.
Maybe send me that. I trust your music judgment. It's not that it's bad. Anyways, Plume's like, I also have a version of comedic wordplay. These things are linked. Yes. I think it comes from the same muscle. Yes. Like, what are we doing? You're wasting my time.
Look, we are all, at the end of the day, as much as we fucking hate to admit it sometimes, like good screenplay characters, we are defined by a central wound or two.
Sure.
And I think that, so there is, I think, a commonality in like what we respond to. Like, the songs that I like are as dramatic as the friends that I have, are as saccharine as the movies that I love, are as sometimes devastating as the women I've been involved with, are as, like, there's always a thing that you can drag across the different areas of your life, I think, for me, one of those, I'm always looking for a father. That's why I'm friends with you. But like, it's like, there's always
okay. All right.
There's always a thing,
All right.
And I'm not saying I know what your thing is, but there probably is a DNA, to Plume's point, that is just all over.
Yeah.
The choices.
Yeah, I don't know. It's because I also don't laugh much out in the real world. Like, I don't laugh much. Like, and this used to drive other people in my life crazy. That's all I'll say. Because if I hear a joke, I do this. I go, Like, if it's a joke I like.
Yeah, no, dude. Somebody, I think it was either Jared or Jerry, one of the Just Sound people in our lives. I had to address that recently, where I think it was Jared. That Jared was saying to me, he was like, there was a time in our friendship where I thought that you were just like writing off my jokes or like not responding, because I will hear something that I think is really funny and I'll say that. I'll be like, man, that's really funny. But I do mean it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes I do cackle, and that does happen. That's a breakthrough point. But a lot of the times I'll be like, yeah, I'm like, God, that's hilarious. Like that. I more so have admiration for jokes or bits or whatever in that way.
So. Yeah, and so it's just about more in the real world, not when I'm broadcasting or on stage or anything like that. But it's affected there. But like, if you say a joke and I'm like, oh, that's funny, I really like how you constructed that and you came to it. That's wonderful. But if you're like got a pun for me, I'm like, I don't respect the process. I don't respect how you got there. You took a word that sounded like another word and then you made it into a little thing. I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. You would have had a fucking heart attack down here in South Florida when a few different locations of a chain called Nothing Bundt Cakes all started popping up. That was definitely
every once in a while, I don't mind a good restaurant name. There's a place I keep texting Josh McCouga, a big purveyor of puns. It's his whole existence. Yes. We've argued about this many times, but there is a restaurant in Burbank called Ribs Against the Machine. And I don't even know if that's a good pun, but I'm just like, hey, we should go here.
It's not because ribs and rage don't sound the same. That's the thing, is that like,
and then what do you?
There's a small target. There's a small target that you have to hit. Like ribs, off the top of my head, doesn't really sound like any band name that I could think of.
Well,
that
and
doesn't
also,
make
like,
sense to me.
is the restaurant a political statement? Like, is it? I don't understand. I don't understand. But I want to eat there. I want to eat there.
Like who's the machine? Anyway,
who's the machine? Is it Big Rib? It's Big Rib.
Bulls on the plate is better.
But that's got to be one of the meals, right? You get there, you order that. Number 5 is Bulls on the plate.
That's true. That's true. Well, everybody, I don't know what this episode really was outside of some thinly veiled therapy, but we got through it.
I laughed at
that. See, I mean, I'm good for a cheap little chuckle. So. Other show. That's the other show.
I started playing Force Center's music. Yeah, it's hard to have deep conversations when there's a 5-second delay between us, but we appreciate you all hanging out with us. We'll try to figure this out. It might never get figured out. I don't know. I truly love you all. Keep suggesting TV shows I won't watch. Alden, 30 is going to be fine. It's a great decade. Just go touch grass and get laid every once in a while. You'll get through it. Everybody, we'll see you next time here at Anytime with Ken and Alden. Bye.
Bye.